Thank you.
You're gonna be happy with that one. You have them sit in the front.
Okay.
Yep.
Good evening and welcome to the May 13th, 2024 council meeting. Members of the public were provided with the following methods to watch or participate in this open meeting. Attend in person at the North Douglas Community Complex. Attend electronically via Zoom to observe the meeting or to speak to an item on the agenda. Watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township YouTube page. Or finally, you can submit written comments to the clerk's division that will provide to council members and will form part of the public record. I'd now like to call the meeting to order, please. And approval of the agenda, Councilor Osmer.
Move by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, and the council adopts the May 13th, 2024 council meeting agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. I would now like to do the Indigenous acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the national language of the people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this in acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And I had the privilege to go and listen to the KW Chamber of Commerce when they invited Tabitha Ball to come to a session to speak. Tabitha represents the Indigenous people and is trying to promote them and have us work closer with them. And they are wanting the opportunity to do procurement within municipalities and be given a seat at the table, or the same opportunity that anyone other business would be offered. And so I think we should open and welcome that opportunity to the Indigenous people. And we reflect on how very hard they're trying to make things right. That's what I find amazing. They're not being negative all the time. They're trying to progress our relationship forward. That makes me very proud of the Indigenous people and of us who are reaching out to us. So let's pause and reflect on that. Thanks very much. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Councilor Osmer. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes, please. Councilor Timmett.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osmer, that council approve the following meeting minutes. 6.1, council meeting minutes, April 22nd, 2024. 6.2, council planning meeting minutes, April 23rd, 2024.
All those in favor? It's carried, thank you. And planning public meeting minutes, please, Councilor Wells. Wait a minute, no, that was both minutes, that was in the same way. There's no presentations, there's no delegation. Any requests to lift items from the consent agenda? Any members to speak on that? No? Okay, confirm with the vote, is the public registered to speak? No, none. All right, then, let's move the consent agenda, please. Councilor, who's got the consent agenda? Williams, yes.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Edelman, that the following reports is listed in the May 13, 2024 consent agenda be received, and the recommendations contained therein be approved and acted upon. 10.1.1 MD-05-2024, April 2024 incident summary. 10.1.2 and Finance -11-2024 tax rate bylaw 3483-24. And that the following information items as listed in the May 13, 2024 consent agenda be received. 10.2.1 communications and correspondence from NDHPS membership of the Ontario Historical Society. 10.2.2 advisory committees, so there's ND Program Advisory Committee meeting minutes equals 12, 2024. 10.2.3 external public agencies, GRCA, resource management strategy, consultation hearing.
And before I call for the vote, wonderful news on the North Dunby Preservation Society and their membership onto the Ontario Historical Society, which allows them the charitable status. And, it's really a wonderful opportunity for us in the township as a whole. So I think it's a wonderful thing, and I congratulate them. All those in favor? Carried. And next up. So there's no items for discussion, Morrison Road and English Street updates, bylaw updated. Any questions, comments? Councilwoman, you have the motion.
Moved by myself by Council Williams that appeal report number 09-2024 be received, and that bylaw number 3482-24 being a bylaw to further amend bylaw number 2559-13, traffic and parking bylaw, to change the posted speed on Morrison Road from Sheffield Road to approximately 2090 Morrison Road be enacted, and that bylaw number 3482-24 being a bylaw establishing no parking area on both sides of the street, from Bowman Street to Thompson Street, be enacted, and upon the execution of this bylaw, staff will undertake necessary steps to post appropriate signage and public awareness campaign.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And, next to the MOU with, Brown Subdivision Community Park update. Does anyone want to speak on this? No? Then can I have the motion, please, Council Williams?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilwoman, that council received REC report number 11-2024, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the memorandum of understanding with the Brown Community Park Committee, subject to any minor revisions as required by the township solicitor and or the chief administrative officer.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is the annual conference. Is there any questions or comments in regards to the delegations for Sydney? Seeing none, we got an email last week in regards to something about water testing being changed.
So, Madam Mayor, we're trying to confirm with Waterloo Public Health as to whether or not this is their program or whether this is a different initiative as it relates to water testing that may be administered through provincial labs.
So if there is an issue, could we also see the delegation in the province to speak on that if we discover an issue?
So, Madam Mayor, that might be something that we would do at the joint townships because it would affect all 4 townships included.
Yes, I always put together CAOs and they're going to be touching base with you. So if there's no questions or comments, all those in favor? Gary. Oh, I'm sorry, Council Chair, you have to read all that.
Oh, well, where's this? Moved by myself, second by Councilor Osmer, that the CO report number 09-2024 be received and that staff be directed to submit delegation requests to the provincial government at the 2024 AMO conference on behalf of the township as follows. 1. Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, consideration of the comprehensive review and engagement and Aggregate Resources Act and associated development review approval process. 2. Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, consideration establishing a minimum separation distance between licensed aggregate operations and urban rural sediment areas. 3. Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, enhanced rehabilitation standards for aggregate sites. 4. Ministry of Infrastructure, capital grant program for the rehabilitation of bridge structures. 5. Ministry of Infrastructure, capital grant program for the construction of major rehabilitation of recreation, leisure, community facilities. And 6. Ministry of Transportation update and next steps, Highway 24, Brantford Highway study McQueen Shaver Boulevard to Clifford Road.
On the audio, but again, all those in favor? That's carried, thank you. A letter from, next is the letter, from the Ministry of Infrastructure, the road construction in the countries. Is there any questions or comments? Can I have a motion, please, Councilor Levy?
Moved by myself by Council Williams, that correspondence from the Ministry of Infrastructure be received and thanked.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next is an email from our residents regarding speeding and traffic in the cloud. Does anyone want to speak on it? Councilor Tilly and Councilor Russell.
It appears as though staff has come up with some options in regards to delaying the speed and installing some options in there. I don't know if we should break this up, because everybody's obviously reviewed or receiving that at this point. But it is great. Thank you very much for doing that stuff.
Councilor Russell.
Just a quick question in general. We seem to be getting a lot of emails from various places in the township, particularly a lot of different parts of the air, about speeding and that. And I'm just wondering if there's something we can do that's a little bit more active, I guess you could say, in trying to monitor the speeds. Like, I don't know how many of the speed signs we have and how many times we can move them around, but we're getting a lot of complaints about various parts of the township and in the town of Air. And I'm just wondering, like, can we monitor, rather than us consistently replying with, that's one of the regional police things, all the police, is there something we can do to be a little bit more proactive on monitoring?
See you on the field.
So, Madam Mayor, we have 3 operational speed control signs, and we do rotate them across a number of roads in our system. Our resources have been stretched because council's actually asked us to actually deploy them on regional roads. We have bought them for our local road system, and almost half of our monitoring now is on regional roads. The regions themselves don't do it. We share the data using our machine with the region of Waterloo. All of our data, whether it's on a regional road or a local road, is shared with WRPS because it does help them inform their traffic enforcement components. In addition, staff from engineering and public works are part of a region-wide group comprised of region, area municipalities, and WRPS that focuses on road safety, traffic safety related matters, which focuses on things like best practices, speed enforcement measures and tools, road design parameters, and the like. And as a part of those meetings, we also reinforce areas where we have received complaints from area residents associated with speeding traffic, and asked as part of those meetings at WRPS increase their traffic enforcement on one or more of those sections of road. The issue that we seem to be facing, we're finding more and more on our local roads within the settlement areas and within the built-up urban areas, is the speed is being largely within the parameters of the posted speed limit. Problem is, any moving vehicle appears faster than what it really is because people are adjacent to the travel portion of the road. We do know some of our urban counterparts have undertaken programs where they're universally moving toward either a 40 or a 30-kilometer posted speed. For the most part, most of our settlement or urban roads are 50-kilometer, and then we have 40 kilometers, very select portions of the urban road system, generally either adjacent parks and or school sites. Whereas our urban counterparts over the last year, maybe 18 months, have started to look at 40 or 30 kilometers as their default speed in the built up urban areas. We have asked through this regional group that I mentioned a moment ago, that they start sharing some of the data now that they're getting into a year of activity as to what the success has been. And whether or not they're making any adjustments coming out of their first round of collection of data coming from the change in posted speeds. And certainly we can bring back a report to council based on some of those experiences that are being found through data collection by our urban counterparts, and then decide whether or not there may be portions of either the rural settlements and or the urban areas where we might wish to sort of steal a page from the urban counterparts and apply them in a local context here in North Belfast.
Councillor Austin, Councillor Williams.
Thank you. So I'm just wondering if it's time for us to maybe get some permanent, solutions rather than temporary, signage. For example, when you're driving to Plattsville, the hamlet of Washington and into Plattsville, they have, and into Drumbo as well, and there's some on Silver Street in Paris, and I'm sure there's various other places where there's an actual, like, you can't miss it. This thing is gonna flash at you, and I'm just wondering if there's, in the thoroughfares, the ins and outs of the town where people seem to be speeding the most, and in the rural communities where the speed goes from 50 up to 70, 80, whatever it is. Maybe it's time for us to think about something like that, just to, as a permanent signage type of solution. I know for a fact, because I have spent enough time on, Hilltop, and across from Joseph's Lane there, and watch the cars go up to the new development. And they are moving fast. Like, it sounds like it's running short sometimes. And they seem to be gearing down. Would recommend that soon they're gearing down to turn into the new development. So maybe it's time that we maybe consider some more permanent solution.
Simone Hearing.
So Madam Mayor, Councillor Oster, your point about Swan Street, it's one of the chronic areas where we do have speeding complaints. Regional Council is a regional road, approximately a month ago, after petitioning from this council as well as council staff, did actually reduce the speed limit midway between Hilltop and Leslie Davis, and lowered it down to a 50 kilometer. As of Friday, the new signs hadn't been actually installed, but regional council did enact a bylaw to reduce the speed limit through the urban area in the southern portion of Swan Street to Brandwell Road to a 50 kilometer. That may help a little bit, but the reality is, for the most part, it's an open road and people are comfortable driving a higher speed. And I think it's going to be a combination both of obviously posted speed and traffic enforcement. Most of the roads that you talked about entering into or exiting our settlement areas, whether it be air or the rural settlement areas, are on regional roads. And as such, the region would actually have to consent to the installation of permanent entry signs that post flash the travel speed of vehicles. Certainly, I'm familiar with what's underway in Oxford. The area municipalities in Oxford County last year, about this time of year, agreed on a uniform approach to the various settlement areas on county roads. Plattsville, Drumbo, Innerkip are just 3 examples. And yes, on those county roads, entering into the respective settlement areas, there are the large flashing signs that are permanent structure, and for the most part, they seem to be powered by solar panels. That was a county initiative that was done in cooperation with the area municipalities. Certainly, if council wishes to have that discussion with regional transportation staff, we can flag it. I can tell you from past experience, the region has been very reticent about these speed control signs. As I mentioned a few moments ago, they would not put the temporary ones up to monitor speed. They eventually relented and gave us permission to put up our signs on a temporary basis. But there doesn't seem to be to date a willingness from the region to actually use it as a proactive measure to inform voters.
See, can we reach out to them and find out if they want to? If, and not like, if they're actually changing speed, because I think after people get complacent after a while and just go, I wonder if they're still having an effect.
So certainly, if I draw back to my earlier conversation, my urban counterparts, now being roughly a year into their reduction in speed, they will have some data. They will tell us in some of their chronic areas. They also put up those flashing signs that we monitor speed, and that would be part of that data collection. I know from literature reviews, the initial indication comes out that for the first 2 or 3 weeks, motorists are making the adjustment. Generally, the travel speed drops between 3 and 5 kilometers, but after several weeks, those motorists that continually use that corridor do migrate back to their comfort speed rather than the posted speed.
Councilor Jones.
I was wondering if we need to consider photo radar in some of these things. Just drawing that.
I was on a group that, the minute, actually, one of the mayor from, not from Moulton, I don't know where it was from, do you remember anything? Went to the ministry on it, and, they sent them to me because I had brought that up. And, the one thing is you have to declare the whole community a safety group, and then the fines would be done. There's no getting around that, and that's the crunch of it. Now, Brantford's done a pilot project on Wayne Gresby Way and a few other ones, and, maybe we should look at what they're doing, see how we can do.
So, Madam Mayor, when the region and the area municipalities first pursued discussions on the installation of photo radar, the permissive areas, this was a regional-led initiative, was only in school zones. So the broader context of community safety zones was not captured. It was exclusively the school zones. So we have, in the regional bylaw, identified each of our 3 school sites, St. Bridget's on Burlington, Air Public School on Hall, and Cedar Creek Public School on Hilltop as part of that program. The region, in the fall of 2023, committed over the next 2 or 3 years to expand the photo radar to capture all regional school sites within the next 2 to 3 year period. So it was a graduated rollout. At present, we only have the infrastructure installed in 2 of the 3 schools, St. Bridget's and Cedar Creek Public School. If council wishes to remove ourselves from the regional program and broaden the areas where photo radar could be considered, we would be divorcing ourselves from the regional program. And we would have to then identify those areas that would meet the test of a community safety zone under the Highway Traffic Act. And then council would have to, if you wish to, undertake the capital infrastructure as well as the annual operating costs, including the processing of fines for those vehicles that would violate. At present, the region, on behalf of the area municipalities, took on the cost of the one-time capital construction, installation of the photo radar system, and then administers the program, which includes the reconciliation where tickets are issued, as well as the collection of those funds. Right now, the region is utilizing the services of the city of Toronto to actually do the processing of the tickets. The region, as part of an expansion, even though I said over the next 2 or 3 years, the intent is to grow the program in school zones. The region has also undertaken an analysis to look at bringing that in-house and to be administered by future additions to the regional staff complement in that regard. LAS, which is a division of AMO, does have a program and a contract on that does deliver or will enter into service contracts with municipalities to administer and deliver the photo radar program if the terms can be properly framed and negotiated. So there is an avenue for us, but it would require us to divorce ourselves from the current regional initiative, do it as a standalone. Council establishes parameters in accordance with the permissive abilities under the Highway Traffic Act. Then we would respond to capital, ongoing administration, including the posting and collection of the appropriate funds.
McNally, why couldn't we allow the region to still do the school zones and we do a separate on our streets? Why would we have to divorce? Why can't we send those two things?
I guess if we're going to go through the expense of running the program, why would we divorce ourselves and have the region just deal with 3 sites? From a scale of economies, if we're doing North Dumfries, then it's easier to frame the contract with a service provider like LAS and have them deliver the program for the township. Or maybe there are other municipalities in Waterloo region that want to expand their program beyond what's currently available through the region. I know a couple of other townships have been toying with the idea, and maybe there is an interest in a joint proposal. I just think having a hybrid delivered locally just doesn't make sense. But we're in the game of dealing with it and deliver it, and move forward accordingly.
Councilor,
Madam Mayor, this is something we've been talking about in Ward 1, Ward 2 for about 10 years now. We haven't had limited success with speed humps, with raised crosswalks, with raised intersections. I think photo radar is something that might be very expensive. I'm wondering if staff could look into maybe the use of more speed humps, more raised crosswalks, and also maybe chicanes to narrow some of these roads where the speeding is occurring. Because photo radar and monitoring and speed cameras and whatnot, that's sort of in a way it's just punitive. But if we design the roads differently, that forces people to slow down, then we're not actually coming after them. In fact, we're actually being proactive in saying the road is now narrow, the road is now for traffic calm, and you can't speed on it typically by designing the road, as opposed to designing the big giant wide open roads that just beg you to drive 80 kilometers an hour on them. And then you're gonna get a ticket if the speeding is set artificially at 50. Maybe what we need to do is look at the road design, narrow those roads, slow the road down, and people can't drive 80 kilometers.
I think we've got staff hands full right now, and we can do our things for us, including that. Also, the police have done a mega job. They have been providing reports about the tickets given to North Dumfries residents. Cambridge is going to be a paper today. Maybe we should think about a 40 kilometer in our 7 minutes. And maybe staff can look into that, integration, product grounds, even weeds where those were without regional extensions. But maybe we can look into that and maybe have a discussion about it once my staff and the future. Councilor,
And as we're talking, I was just reminded of our conversation a few months ago. Speed assessment on all the roads in the township. So like I said, that would be tying in all of that, the diligence that we need to. I haven't heard much about it since, but it's in progress.
I'm sure we'll see over here.
So, Madam Mayor, through Councilor Tilley's comment, yes, we've already previously committed to council that we will look at the area network, local road system only, And that's why we know the data is being collected based on the first year of experience in our urban counterparts. Cambridge has just started to roll out their program. Kitchener and Waterloo certainly are now coming up to their first anniversary. We'll just pass the first anniversary in the case of Kitchener. And that's the data we will be using. Take that information, the types of roads where that's occurring, and sort of put in the context of North Belfast. And then talk to council about these roads have these characteristics, they're similar in the experience, let's say, of a certain section in Kitchener, if we use that as our example, and here's what the before and after effects been, and this is what it would cost. So not only was there reduction in posted speed, in some cases, they also did put horizontal and vertical deflection on certain types of roads, which goes to council Roland's comments. Certainly, that is a much easier thing to do as part of the design plans of subdivision. It is something that we've incorporated into the new subdivisions over the last 3 or 4 years. It's a little bit more problematic doing it in established neighborhoods, because it will be at the expense in some areas related to curbside parking. It can, in some areas, affect current designs related to stormwater overland drainage. And we have to be cautious and careful about the driveways, because that can create its own issues, where deflection, horizontal, or vertical, if it's put into place. There you would need a little bit more public consultation. We now have uniform design, recognizing some of the local characteristics. But certainly on greenfield developments, through the initial reviews of plan subdivision, we do require submission of traffic calming information, and it works its way into the conditions of draft approval and the engineering submissions perform schedules to the subdivision agreement.
And if I may also, please look at also including the studies for the roads, speeds or whatever, in places like Riverway and Hilltop subdivision and SMTs.
Well, as I mentioned a moment ago, the analysis and work that was done by the city of Kitchener and the city of Waterloo look at their entire hierarchy of roads right down to comparable subdivisions. If I was looking at Hilltop or Myth Riverway, it was their minor and major collector roads, their local streets, and residential settings.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Seeing none, we have not continue, please.
Moved by myself, second by Council Osmer. In regards to 11.3.2, email from resident on speeding and traffic complied. The correspondence regarding the speeding and traffic complied be received with thanks. And in the matter of the implementation of a four-way stop at Village Road and the intersection of Clyde Bank Drive and Langford Drive, and installation of a three-way stop at Clyde Road and Clyde Bank Drive, be referred to staff to review and follow up with report to council. And that the council requests the region of Waterloo to review and assess the following road safety measures listed below. 1, installation of a three-way stop at Clyde Road and Langford Drive. 2, install a stop on Clyde Road at both the east and west legs of the Village Road. And 3, reducing the speed limit on Clyde Road from 80 kilometers an hour to 60 kilometers an hour from the Cambridge, North Dumfries municipal boundary easterly to the settlement area of Clyde.
Before I call for the vote, CEO McNally, can we also, state a timeline that we want to be heard back? I don't want this to be just slush on the details. Paperwork and bill aside. I would like a comment from them. And I mean, even if we give them a month or something, even if I'm saying they're looking into it.
If council wishes to provide a direction as to a specific time you want to hear back from regional staff.
What do you think would be fair?
It's not quite summer.
Yeah, so. And CEO McNally, will there any time frame you recommend?
So if I just take a look, what we're going to have to do, it'll be 6 weeks, and then work its way to the next council session.
As in our council session, but then.
Our council, we are going to look at the intersections that are local, and they reference in the first part of that resolution.
Okay.
The analysis will be done over about a 6-week lead time, and then it'll work its way into the next available council meeting following that. How long it will take the region to do it, I don't know.
Okay, I will maybe bring it up. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Report from Engage Rural Health and Social Services and Community Wellbeing in Waterloo Region Township. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, place your hands.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Rowland, that the report from Engage Rural regarding health and social services and community well-being in the region Waterloo Region Townships be received. Thanks. That staff submit this report for discussion as an agenda item with Rural Collaborative and with representing the 4 Waterloo Region Townships, and that this report be referred to the Leisure and Community Services Department for consideration as they assess programming opportunities for the next 3 to 5 year period.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next, we have an email from Waterloo Region Community Foundation on a table initiative. And we have the choices here on the email, on the motion. Councilor Tilly, do you want to, Councilor Austin, do you read them?
So moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that option number 1, that the correspondence from Waterloo Regional Community Foundation read on the table initiative be received with thanks, or that staff be directed to prepare and implement the township hosting a discussion locally for the time period of June 7 to 9, 2024, to further the WRCF on the table initiative.
Questions or comments? What would it look like if we initiated? I thought it was pretty vague. Sure.
Well, we have less than a month to take their kit, flesh out a local program, advertise, cultivate relationships with people across the township, and bring them into a meeting where we would be leading the discussion on the table initiative, looking at a wide range of social initiatives. I'll tell you right now, they didn't give people a very long window of time to prepare for this, 5 weeks. No, we only got this notice last week. 5 weeks is as much time to draw this together and have it in a very meaningful manner. I think the initiative is great, but the lead time is awful short. If you're going to have a meaningful consultation session with your residents.
So what if we said we will do it, but not till the fall?
Then we'd be out of sync with what they're trying to do in terms of gathering information to inform the next iterative version of their report on the social and mental and well-being of the residents across Waterloo Region. An alternative for council would be to extensively promote the venues that are being hosted by the foundation itself. And I would encourage members of council to register to participate in some of their workshops that they're going to be hosting.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so which one are we going to select? I assume it's going to be CAD. Ms. Bronze.
Madam Mayor, in a situation like this, it is up to the mover to suggest which one and then the vote.
Thank you. Councilor Austin. No question.
Yes, I think we should receive it with thanks at this point, because I'm not comfortable moving through with an initiative that we don't really know a lot about right now. Because if we want to push something through, we want to do it right. I'm sure staff wants to do it thorough, and I'm sure council wants to look at it thoroughly and understand, because I don't want to sit across the table with somebody trying to convince about something that I've just learned in the last, cramming for a test. So I think the initiative, CEO McKinley said is good. I just think we need more time to immerse ourselves into it, get used to it, so that we can effectively promote it.
Council Utility.
In agreement, but also in addition to that, excuse me, there is, looking at the actual document that we received from, Mr. Eric Chapman, there's the option to complete this itself, like the CAO, said, that we can put it on our social media, share it on social media, and that's our way of contributing to share it without having to create hardships for the staff from the time, such as that.
Okay, and, so that's the, all those in favor of option one? That's carried, thank you. I don't think so, we did not. Just check what you said. Yeah. Okay. There's nothing for the mayor's and council's reports, going into closed, confidential report CAO, proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality of the local board. Councilor Lang, please.
Moved by myself, second by Mr. Wilms, that council moves to open session at 6:40 p.m. pursuant to the section 292C to discuss the report number 07-124. Consider a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the county of the board, which will act section 292C.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. So, Councilor Tilly, the motion, Councilor Rowland, seconded that council reconvened into open session at 7:05. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And coming out of close, that the CEO report 07-2024 was reviewed with council. Staff have been provided with direction to undertake further review with respect to this property matter. Council will receive a future report from staff on this matter in closed session at a later date. So now we go on to business of item closed has been done, notice of motion. Yeah, sorry. Notice of motion, and this is by Councilor Austin, first and second reading of the motion. Yeah. Oh, bylaws. Okay, the bylaws. That's what Councilor Austin. The bylaws. Yeah. You got it? Okay, Councilor Williams, please. Any advisements, Councilor Williams?
Okay, I'll go for 1, 2, 3, 4.
I have 1 and 2 and 3.
And you have 1 and 2 as well?
I have item 17.1.
Go for them. You go for that and I'll do this.
Why is it separate? What did yours is 17, and you got 2 and 3?
Madam Mayor, originally Councilor Austin was one of them, but he had a very beginning of the meeting, indicated he would not be here for the end of the meeting, so it was revised, so they are all good.
Okay, so Councilor Williams, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Tilly, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. 17.1, bylaw number 3482-24, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 32559-13, traffic and parking bylaw. 17.2, bylaw number 3483-24, being a bylaw to adopt the 2024 tax rates bylaw. And 17.3, bylaw number 3484-24, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the township of North Dumfries at this meeting held on May 13, 2024.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And Councilor Williams has third reading of the bylaws.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Rowland, that bylaw numbers 3482-24, 3483-24, and 3484-24 be read for third and final time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and deputy clerk.
Can I have that copy, please, because I don't have one. Oh, yes, I do, never mind. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. And next, please talk to your council. You got, getting this, you're reading it. Councilor Williams, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that whereas business before this council meeting has been completed at 7:10 PM, and be it resolved that this meeting adjourned.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you.